once again. I'm here with I believe, a word for God for special people that will hear this video. What is in your hands? You know, you look around and you may feel that you're in a no-win situation. Well, you know, in 2 Kings in chapter 4, we have a woman that was in that same boat. And she came to the man of God, as we should come to God. And the man said, "What is in your house?" And she said, "Nothing but a little oil." We know the story so well. And you know, you may be just like this woman. And instead of saying, "What is in your house?" I'm saying to you, what is in your hand? This weekend, as you go forth, especially you preachers, but every person, as you go out of your house, as you go forth this weekend, the challenge to you from God is what is in your hand. You know, Christ was ministering to up to 20,000 people. The Gospel of John tells us, and they had stayed there 3 days. You imagine preaching for 3 days. They had stayed there 3 days. And Jesus said, "Go and feed them." And so in verse 5 we read, "Then Jesus lifted up his eyes, and seeing the great multitude coming before him, he said to Philip, 'Where shall we buy bread that they may eat?' That's this," he said, to test him, for he knew himself what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 darios worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them would have a little. And one of the disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter, said to him, "There is a lad here." You see, there was a boy out of 20,000 people. You know, you're one in a million. You are special to God. And you may think you have nothing. You may think you have 5 rusted up pieces of bread and 2 little sardines. But with that, Christ fed 20,000 people and had 12 baskets left over. You know, 2 years ago, I went to India, and this is a special message for my friends in India. And we saw God powerfully move, and we had 500 salvations. And then I went again 12 months later, and we had a further 500 salvations. This resulted in the church that the pastor had there being too small to fit all the people in. We needed a bigger church. What did we have in our hands? You know, there was no way in the natural that we could build a bigger church. The church they had to squeeze to capacity would fit perhaps 400. We needed to see that doubled. But supernaturally, we stepped out in faith. Supernaturally, God provided land for the pastor, just from an old man that he used to go and minister to. One you would think would have no money or no possessions. And the land was provided. Supernaturally, God provided the documents to be signed and put through with no cost. Normally that would have been 1,500 American dollars. Supernaturally, God used me to raise thousands of dollars. In the natural, there's no way that I could do it. I had a few dollars in my hand, which I was able to put before it, but then God multiplied that and multiplied that and multiplied that. And this week, just yesterday, the concrete roof was poured on that building. That building that will seat between 750 and 800 people stands as a miracle. The pastor there only had a little church. Only had a group of people, a couple of hundred people, maybe a little more, and all of a sudden, because he acted in faith, because he went to an old man and looked after that old man, God provided. You see, what he had, what the pastor there in India had, was a loving pastoral heart, and went and ministered to an old man. An old man you would think would be able to do nothing. That's what he had in his hand. And today, in that village, in that city, is arising a powerful building supernaturally that 18 months ago no one thought. Like the woman with the little bit of oil, no one thought. Like the boy with 5 pieces of bread and 2 little fish, no one thought. Like my friend, the pastor in India, just an old man, no one thought. And today stands that building, not finished, but it's going, and it's getting close. But the challenge and the word for you today is what is in your hand. This weekend, what is in your hand? Some of you that have orphanages in India and Africa, and you wonder where the next meal is going to come from. What is in your hand? Some of you that need to build churches and you don't have the resources and you don't have the money. What is in your hand? Some of you that preach the word and go on the streets. What is in your hand? Some of you that are sick and you have cancer and you have other diseases. You have Corona-19. What is in your hand? I believe that's the word. I don't normally share it a Saturday, but I really felt God say to me, say to the people, especially my children in India and Africa, say to them, do not look towards man, but look with what is in your hand and give it to God. And the dream that you have, the vision that you have, the sickness that you have, all of these things, the sickness will go, the dream will become reality because you looked at what you had in your hand. God bless you. This is Prophet Tom. Have a powerful weekend and remember what is in your hand.